Thank you, Amir Saab, and thank you to all of you for showing up. It's really wonderful to see you all again. It has been a while, and so welcome everyone from all kinds of time zones. As Amir said, we have a very interesting topic. I'll just, as usual, go to my PowerPoint presentation and first switch on the screen share if you just give me a second. Okay, can you
Yes.
all see it? Okay. Okay, thank you very much. This is our today's topic, the impact of Pakistani diaspora on Pakistani society. People of Pakistani origin or descent who live abroad or in various countries, what kind of impact they have or their activities generate on Pakistan, and what is the significance of their activities or their engagement in all these three sectors, socially, economically, and politically. Uh, our dialogue today is dedicated to all those who contribute to building a truly democratic society anywhere in the world, whether their contribution is small or big. Regardless of that, they all are heroes who really struggle one way or the other to contribute to build democracy. Let me just introduce our topic a little bit before we move on. When we talk about diaspora, it is not a homogeneous group. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not a homogeneous group. We can't say here is a group with there are obviously a lot of similarities because most of them come from the same place. But if you look at it, you can divide them into various segments, and each segment has its own profile. So we have people who you can call immigrants, who could be called expatriates or students or refugees. And then there is a large number of younger generation, second or third, who are born and bred in Europe. And then people who come from urban areas, rural areas, people with higher education, lower education, skilled or unskilled, their socio-economic status that also matters, and whether they have a Pakistani or European partner. I mean, are they married to a Pakistani man or woman, or a European? That is a different kind of, slightly different kind of profile. Whether they come from Pakistan with conservative ideas or with liberal ideas, and which gender they belong to, because that also can play a role, and there are differences. And there are different motives for relocation to some other country. The length of a stay abroad or in the adopted country also has impact on their behavior towards Pakistan. So all these segments and many more, they all relate to Pakistan in many different ways. There is not one fixed pattern that each one looks at Pakistan or the events in Pakistan or Pakistani society in very similar ways. So they all have their own views and own ways of looking at it. Uh, in talking about Europe in worldwide, as the statistics say, and I've taken most of the statistics, as you will imagine, from internet, and some numbers don't tally, but it doesn't really matter. So they say that about 10 million Pakistanis live abroad, and about 2.2 million Pakistanis live in Europe. Now, according to a research by Institute of Strategic Studies, the Pakistani diaspora living in particularly in the European Union maintains more contact with their homeland than those living elsewhere. And that's understandable, because if we look at most people, and remember the profiles I was talking about, and they have a specific profile, a specific skill set, and their relationship with Pakistan is probably more intense than some other segments. And we have seen also lately that a lot of people are leaving Pakistan. So we have 789 something thousand people who left Pakistan for employment in 2024 compared to 811,000 in 23, and 24 is not yet over. So we see a huge number of people leaving the country. Now, this means This means a lot of things. This also has a lot of impact on Pakistani society, but we will, I think, come back to it when we have discussion further down the line. But what this also means that the diaspora in Pakistan, in worldwide Pakistani diaspora, they are not stagnant. It's not a stagnant group. It's continuously refreshing itself. New people are being added, old people getting out, and new people being added. And with the addition of new people, the new attitudes and new behaviors and new relationship with the Pakistan is also added to this group every now and then as the people move in. And the economic side of it is also that the country is expected to receive about 28 billion US dollars in remittances during the current fiscal year. So these factors I have just mentioned, plus several others, which you can easily think of, contribute to the social, economic, and political impact on Pakistani society. And this is what we are going to discuss in this dialogue today. So coming to our panelists, just the points I have raised, I am sure we will be going into detail during our discussion, and also participants will contribute, not only the panelists and Rana Sahab, myself, but I think everyone. We would like to encourage everyone to ask questions, to give their point of view, but please stay on the topic. So we have a very diverse and actually quite a carefully chosen the list of panelists, and they come from various backgrounds, because we are talking about quite a broad spectrum of people. So we have people who just came here as adults and did their PhD. We have someone who was born and bred here and became a doctor here. Someone who came as a child and then built a beautiful career, and someone very young who came as an expatriate to work. So we will cover a broad spectrum. Unfortunately, and we OPP feel so really bad about it, that we don't have a gender balance in the panelists. Our intention was to really have a gender balance, a good balance of male and female and else in our panel. But believe me, we have very seriously tried. We contacted close to a dozen women who were very qualified to speak on this topic. And all of them, for one reason or the other, excused themselves, and either they didn't want to, or didn't have time, or didn't have competence enough, whatever the reason, they did not join us in the panel. There are a lot of joining us as participants, but it would have been extremely nice. And so before anyone criticizes this, I just wanted to let you know that we really tried very hard, but unfortunately we didn't succeed. The first panelist, Dr. Morgai, he is a cultural anthropologist based in Amsterdam. Some of the themes of his research deal with new cultural formations and religious mobilization in Pakistan among overseas Pakistanis. So very competent, very relevant for today's discussion. And Dr. Morgai is one of the founding members of OPP Netherlands. I think the where OPP is today, one of the persons who sowed these seeds about 8 years ago was Dr. Morgai. Our second panelist is Dr. Shehryar Mir. He's raised with contrasting values and practices between the West and the East. Dr. Mir is part of the second generation Pakistanis in the Netherlands. He knows everything. I mean, you talk to him, it is so enriching experience to speak with him about these contradictions, about the conflicting cultures and how you deal with it. He is absolutely fabulous when you discuss these topics with him. He studied medicine and biology, holds a PhD in pediatric oncology, and is a pediatrician. He strongly believes in staying connected with his roots by combining his clinical work in the Netherlands with Pakistan. So you see here already these connections, and I'm sure everyone among the participants has some story to tell. Naeem Arif, not a doctor yet. Naeem Saab, you are well on the road. Mr. Arif is a self-employed management consultant focusing on enterprise risk management and internal auditing. He has been training risk and audit professionals for 20 years as part-time lecturer at Nijrode Business University, and this is the Harvard of Holland. It's the best business university with top reputation, and the Hague University of Applied Sciences. He also is the editor of the professional journal Audit Magazine, a prestigious magazine. People in this trade know that. His passions include Urdu language and poetry, and also very enriching to when you just talk to him about the Urdu language, about the poetry, and he's quite deeply involved in it. Last but absolutely not least, Mudassir Shah Mr. Shah is an IT engineer with expertise in developing innovative solutions to enhance digital management engagement. Along with his work, he is a social media activist, and something very, very, very close to his heart is to reform Pakistan's blasphemy laws. And again, you have we had discussions with him about this, how these laws have been created and they are implemented or badly implemented. And that's it's just very close to his heart to make sure that these laws are reformed or amended. He aims to raise awareness, engage communities, and promote human rights for a secular democratic Pakistan. So these are our four, I think, fantastic panelists. And I would stop sharing here and would request our four panelists, whoever wants to go first, maybe in the order I presented their profiles, just take about 5 minutes to say whatever you want to say about this topic, about yourself, or introduce the topic, and then we will move on to our audience, participants, not audience, really participants, because everyone is an active participant. And they should then express their views, ask questions, have a discussion among ourselves. And after that discussion, I will come back and summarize whatever we have discussed today. So thank you very much so far for your attention, and over to our panelists.
Sir, unmute yourself, Murgaisa.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. No, thank you, Bhatti Saab, Rana Saab, and Dr. Ishaq Saab. Nice to see you again here, and all the participants. And I will be short, and I'm actually more interested because it's a very wide topic. I mean, it's a vast area. I mean, and everybody has who lives in overseas countries has its own experiences, and it will be definitely nice to hear others' opinion also, views also. But as I was asked to present certain views from my side, so I will of course focus on certain things. I mean, certain political and religious and economic or more social media aspects. And as of course, it's very preliminary. I mean, I'm more interested in discussion which will follow. But if I go with my own thinking, I think the impact of the engagement of the overseas Pakistanis with Pakistan, we should look at two broader perspectives. One is what I call the traditional groups, and the other is more from more what is called a social media based engagements. Of course, in the present context, we can't distinguish. I mean, there are the linkages between two, but still, I would when I say the traditional groups, then I mean to say that the groups which are engaged on social, political, or religious basis in more organized forms, and they have their linkages with Pakistan. And that could be literary groups, that could be welfare groups, and other social groups. But beside that, there is a lot of which is actually my focus of studies is the religious groups. and their impact is quite wide. In this sense that, if, for example, if I just present an give an example that many organized traditional groups, they are based, for example, in the UK or in the Canada, and they have through their traditional networks and also through the multimedia networks, they have quite a lot of impact on Pakistani society. They are engaged with the multimedia, with the internet and everything. They have a kind of and the platform which the Western societies provide them. They have spread their traditional network into Pakistan, and in this sense that even the Quran classes, the different religious settings, they are even taking place within household. I mean, within and their impact on the women in Pakistan. That's a huge impact. Which is what previously perhaps not that visible, but due to the internet and due to their going into in those spheres, and having engagements and providing different religious classes. I mean, we should also, I mean, look at that, how that is impacting and how it can affect on the kind of religious formation which is happening in Pakistani society, and kind of the religious development the kind of engaged religion on the political spectrum in Pakistan. And if I mean in the introduction or in the outline, I was also said that what kind of change this can have. But I mean, before I mean, in the second part, I will deal with social media. But the kind of impact which I see is that these groups, what is in political science is use the term anti-politics, which means that although they have a political impact, but they are anti in this sense that their impact is lesser on what we call as the liberal democracy and its development in Pakistani society. They engage people there, politically engaged, religio-political engagement is there, but it has certain other aspect than opening society for more broader engagement with a liberal kind of thinking. And we have to, I mean, see how this kind of engagements are having an impact on Pakistani society. And related with that is the social media engagements, which in itself is a huge topic to engage with, and considering the present situation in Pakistan, I think the impact of social media and the kind of engagement which is coming from different political parties is a lot. And but how far that is contributing to the kind of liberal or open society, that is something which we have to look for. And when we deal with the impact of social media, we should also look at the kind of on a more theoretical level, we should look at not only the improve the impact of these society to improve the democratic structures in Pakistan, but also how far these engagements are creating its own kind of political culture, which challenges the working of what we call as the traditional political system in Pakistan. And by which I means that in certain ways their engagement is disrupting. I mean, the Pakistani political culture is not answering, to the kind of impacts which is coming from these social media engagements. And as a result of that, we see the kind of all kind of ways the government is using to curb the social media platforms and the social media groups and individuals which have certain impact on from the outside of Pakistan. So in this sense, I would say that we should look at a kind of a new kind of political engagement or political structure which can answer to these these biases which are coming through the social media networks, and I think only curbing using different to curb those platforms will not answer in the long term to the development of democratic processes in Pakistan. And indeed, and further, I am interested into the kind of discussions which will here emerge during the phase.
Thank you, Murgaisa.
Thank you, sir.
Dr. Mir, you want to go next, or?
Yes, of course. So thank you, first of all, OPP, for choosing me to be one of the panelists. My views will be totally not focused on political points, but more my own background and my own choices, and especially focused on health impact and the link between health systems in Pakistan and health systems in other places like in the Netherlands, where I live. So just briefly, as Wahid already showed very nicely, that I have a background in medicine. I'm a pediatrician. And one of the things as a young person I had growing up as a second generation immigrant or child of an immigrant was that I had this, let's say, I did not want to be associated with being Pakistani at that young age. I wanted to be more Dutch. So I grew a bit away from my own roots while being very Pakistani at home, but being totally different outside. So that was this almost a double personality going on. And I think a lot of children from my generation had that same issue. Relatively strict parents who had given up a lot to become immigrants in Holland and wanted for their children a new future and then a better future in a non-Islamic, non-Pakistani society, and then growing up hearing and learning really different stuff outside. So balancing that was tricky. And then when growing a bit older and starting my work life as a doctor, I started to value my own background way more, being able to speak Urdu, understanding cultural differences. And it goes way beyond just Pakistan or the Pakistani culture. If you're bicultural and you can, in the Dutch society, understand other people's feelings or children's issues in my work who come from any different or religious or cultural background, who need to balance differences, it helped me a lot. And at that same time of becoming a pediatrician, I started to focus more on my roots, Pakistan. My wife is from Pakistan. She's a doctor who's trained in Pakistan. That has helped me a lot to understand the extreme differences in health systems there. Pakistan, unfortunately, is among the worst countries when it comes to maternal health. So mothers who are pregnant have almost worse outcome than people in women in Afghanistan. Child mortality, so the amount of children that die after birth or in the first 5 years are among the highest in the world. And that triggered me to, together with my wife, set up an organization, an NGO, a small organization called the Amai Initiative. And for the past, let's say, 7 years or so, We have been collaborating with different health systems in Pakistan, universities, to start up projects, small projects focused on how can we improve health in Pakistan for young children, babies, newborns. And that's been tough, difficult, and we have faced a lot of problems with a lot of different levels of issues. So things like health system problems, so how hospitals are built, how patients present, how the system in Pakistan is extremely different and very much biased towards if you have money and you can go to a private system, whereas majority of people need to use public health systems, which are understaffed, underqualified, sometimes even, which is becoming a bigger problem in the last years. And setting up projects has been difficult for us, and we have learned a lot. How can you cannot come towards Pakistan with your own views of things we have learned in the West and expect people to accept those. You need to balance it with the culture of Pakistan itself. One of the main things maybe we will discuss is the brain drain. People are getting educated in Pakistan quite well. And what happens is all around the world in Western society, there's a age gap. Lesser children are being born, but society is growing faster. So they are asking all these young educated people to leave countries like Pakistan, and especially for doctors, that's been an issue. So you have lesser high educated professional doctors sometimes in hospitals, and juniors are staying there attending patients, and then when they grow a bit further they also leave and don't come back. And I can tell you from my wife's group, she's among, let's say, one of maybe 70% of all batch students who all left Pakistan. Some are leaving right now who are consultants who have done their formal training in Pakistan with family backgrounds, having even hospitals who are now leaving Pakistan. So it tells you something about health system problems which will which are preventing people to stay there. So I would love to discuss these health topics and the link with how we as the diaspora can have positive impact, but also how part of the diaspora is also these young consultants trained in Pakistan who are leaving Pakistan. Thank you.
Okay,
Give me-
let's start. Thank you, Bhatisab, for giving me the chance to have a talk with you, and it's great to see many familiar faces. I have been in Netherlands from 13th year, so I did my primary school in Pakistan and the rest of my study in the Netherlands. And my profession is, as stated, is management consultancy. So I look at organizations as a system. My primary subject is governance, and precisely corporate governance. So my point of view for the situation in Pakistan will be with a system approach. If you look at the elements of a democratic governance system, the literature, but also practice, learns us that there should be free and fair elections. There should be a free press. That's very, very important in every open society. Popular representation. The parliament should represent the people, and they should be held accountable, a word which is very difficult in Pakistan. Political participation. Everyone needs a chance has a chance to participate in the political system. Freedom, individual freedom. It is very related to the free speech, but it is also has to do something the personal identity of someone. And the other is the lesson which we learned from Montesquieu, trias politica, the separation of power, the legislation power, the lawmakers, execution power, policing, and judicial power should be independent, and there should be a rule of law. maybe I'm not complete, but these are the most essential elements of a governance system in every democratic society. If we have a look at, so these are the nexus of, I call it nexus of correction mechanisms. All these mechanisms has a role to correct if something goes wrong. Every of these, you can say these are the 6 essential correction mechanisms of a democratic society. What we see if we look at the society observation of society is that free and fair elections, we see there are many examples, but the last one is the 8th of February this year. Free press. I have put it in very big letters here, so you can read yourself. We have a distrust in regular news sources. As a result, many YouTuber journalists are reaching people. There's a firewall, popular representation. We have a culture of electables there. Common man have no any chance to participate. There's bribery, very on a large scale in the parliament. Political still is a family business. We had Hakim Zardari, then we had Asif Zardari, and now we have Bilal Zardari, and now you know what I mean. So there's still feudal practice there. What we have seen last year is nobody is safe. There are raids at even at women and children, elder people, and the separation of power is also a very, very painful subject, because all of the powers, legislation power, execution power, and judicial power are dismantled. So this is not very very good picture, to say it universally. Now the role of diaspora. What can diaspora do or do? Firstly, I think the number of diaspora is increasing because of this situation. Shahryar also mentioned the brain drain which is going. The skilled people, high educated people are leaving the country in a very big, very high speed. But majority of people, diaspora, I think they feel powerless. They can't do anything. They are engaged, but what they try to do is lobbying wise institutions in United States, but also United Kingdom. They try to influence the parliamentarians in these countries to say something, to write a letter or to give a statement. We also see a public protest. I only need to mention the arrival of Nawaz Sharif in London two weeks ago, and the arrival of former Chief Justice of Pakistan in London, and how they were received by public there. So people express their feeling this way. It's not very chic, but it's the pain that people feel. So there's public accountability. If you look at the situation in Pakistan with the system approach, every essential part of the system is not functioning. I can say a lot more, but let's end me with this share of Basir Kazmi Sahab. एक बाग मिला था हमको, हमने उसको बिगाड़ा ज्यादा है, संवारा कम है. That's it.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your opening
Thank you.
statements. Next panelist, Mudassir, Sayyid Mudassir, could you please unmute your mic?
Hello, am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, first of all, I want to thank you, Amir Bhai, to giving me the opportunity to speak here. And as Naeem Arif Saab ended with a share, with a verse, so I will start with the verse. That is, हमने मुड़ मुड़ के उसी खाक के वतन को देखा, वरना जाते हुए गद्दार कहाँ देखते हैं. So
Zabardast.
the topic of the day is the impact of Pakistani diaspora in Pakistan. I don't know really where to start, but for me, there should no impact of Pakistani diaspora on Pakistan, but there is impact because of the economical condition of Pakistan. And when I was in Pakistan, I left the Pakistan, by the way, in 2013, and afterwards I went to Pakistan various times, but I didn't live over there. I went only for 1 month and then come back, and I'm living in the Netherlands from last 5 years. So the diaspora impact should not be on Pakistan, but there is an impact because of the economical situation, the political situation, and the social situation, which is not really good. And in Pakistan, there are many problems. The first thing is the freedom of speech, which I will say that you cannot say whatever you think or whatever it is happening over there. If you see something, you cannot say something. If you do say something, you will be arrested or you will be in the prison on any of the allegation which they have. What accusation they have in their pockets, they will use that. They can say you are a traitor, they can say you are a blasphemer, they can say that you are dangerous danger for the country and for the society. And the problem is our media outlets, the mainstream media, the newspapers, and the social media, which are the tools of the state of Pakistan, and the governments are keep using those things from long ago. We have seen that. And now on the social media, when the social media came, we have seen in the last elections, in those elections, we have seen that there were so many fake newses, and all behind those fake news, when you check that, it goes, everyone knows that where it goes. I think I should not say about them. But I will come to the topic that how are their activities, how the diaspora's activities are perceived in Pakistan. What I think that the Pakistani has a very lower scale to judge someone. As I am living in the Netherlands, so they will see that I'm a successful person. So they do not have a bigger scale to judge someone that who is successful or who is not. So if someone is living outside the Pakistanis always think, when I was in Pakistan, I was thinking the same, that this person is successful because of his economical situation. Because when we see that the people come out from the Pakistan, they earn the money more than Pakistan, and they send back the remittances to their loved ones, to the family, and that is also that included that helps the Pakistan economy to strengthen. But no one believes in that. Everyone say that I think in 2019, one of our politicians said that they are not sending to state of Pakistan, they are sending to their families. But the question was where the family is living. So, yeah. that their scale of successful or to judge someone is very low, or I should not say, but it is what it is. And they think that he is outside, so he's outside the country, so he knows each and everything, which is also should not be happen. That if I'm living here, it doesn't mean that I know everything. But if I will say something to in the Pakistan, they will believe that. It is the structure of our society that if someone is overseas and who is earning the more money, so whatever he will say, we should believe or trust on him. And third thing that I have seen that here we have freedom of religion in West, especially whatever religion we have, whatever sect we have, whatever ideology we follow religiously. So we have right to practice those things. But when we go to the Pakistan, when we go back to the Pakistan, we do not allow any other sect or any other religion affiliation if someone has that. We always call them the kafir, or maybe something else, or maybe nowadays we have seen a party, they have created a party, a political party they have created on one slogan, which is Khatm Nabuwat. And we have seen that so many people slaughtered by the mob, killed by the mob, by using that law, which was introduced by our dictator, Mr. Ziaul Haq. The 295. See, the 295 was already here. It was gifted by the colonizers to India. But to strengthen that law more was the one person, his name was Ziaul Haq, who was the dictator. And everyone knows that what he has done with Pakistan. So that law is the gift from that person, and we are keep using it. And I have seen so many people here in the Netherlands, they are enjoying their freedom here, but they want that law back in Pakistan. And especially I want to discuss about those, or about that ideology, that how does it work and why. This is it from my side for the opening, and later on I will join. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mudassar, for your opening remarks. And now I want all participants here to raise their hands. And obviously, on this topic, they can share their opinion, their experience, and also they can ask certain questions from our panelists as well.
Imran, I want to say something.
Yes, sir.
Please.
Imran bhai.
Thank you,
Please.
Jit. Thanks for giving me this opportunity to share my views on this important topic. Obviously, Amar bhai, he asked me, so I don't know before. The thing is, if we are talking about the impact of diaspora in Pakistan on the Pakistani society, so for that, first of all, we have to see the capacity of Pakistani infrastructure, social infrastructure, political infrastructure, or ruling infrastructure, that how much they are capable to adopt anything from outside, from abroad, from the people who are living outside. If we see from political side, and if we count Bhutto, Benazir, Imran Khan, these type of people, if we count them in diaspora who studied abroad and they came back in the ruling cadre, they tried according to their vision, what they got over here, what they study over here, whatever they were right or wrong. But the system reacted to them. They did not accepted their political ideologies or their way of work. So the infrastructure of Pakistan has not that absorbing uh, position to get something from abroad. So they have their own views, their own way of work, and their own way of ruling on the top level. But some people, they are working individually. They created some impact over there on their small circles. If we talk about their economic contribution, that we all know that they have some in 2021, it was on the highest level, 29 billion probably, or more than that. And it's going on, plus minus, the remittances. But there is also one other hand, there are investments. Many people from there, they went over there and they started their industry even, and they started their businesses also, or their families, they are doing some businesses over there. This is also some investment over there, and they are creating jobs over there. So this is also a positive impact on the society, but on individual level. Philanthropic activities. There are many people. They are supporting people over there, needy people. Some people, they have started over there their educational institutions. I know a few of people who started their schools in Jhang, especially in myself, I started one school in Quetta, but it was, uh, we can say, a training school for the women to sewing and cutting and knitting, that they can have their own job in their homes, and also healthcare projects. There are many people who have started their dispensaries over there on small level, but not on the hospital level. I have, I myself, I did one dispensary in Gilgit, and now one is under construction in Murray in the village of Bamrot on the name of my father. So these type of many people who are working over there on these fields, but on individual level. But still, this is a positive impact of a diaspora in Pakistani society on small circles. On the whole, if the Pakistani society on the whole or Pakistani government, they are not in that mood to get some lessons from abroad or from civilized societies who are working out of Pakistan. So this is my basic opinion.
Okay.
But thank you for that. And if there was some need, I will talk again.
Yeah, thank you, Imran Bhai.
Thank
Dr. Sharia, please.
Yes, thank you. I would like to comment on the final point Mudassir just made in his panel introduction. So, and I've struggled with the same question he ended with. Why are these people who are benefiting from an open society in which they can openly and safely be in their own religious background, so they can be a Muslim here, Islamic in Holland, at the same time, while benefiting from that, demand the opposite in Pakistan and stand for a law that can be most compared to the Middle Ages and the Renaissance period when we had witch hunting in the West, which was extremely comparable right now. It's literally the same thing. If you look at the historical stories from back then about witch hunts and how the church, the Roman church, Vatican Church used to rule about people and how they decided someone was a witch or whatever, it was exactly like one-on-one comparable. So for me, I've always had that same problem. How is it possible? And for me, I know people who grew up with me, who are raised like me, but have a totally different view when it comes to what is religion. Can you are you able to, let's say, have a contradiction in your own, or a critical view in your own religion, and they prohibit that. So in my opinion, what I have felt is they haven't grown enough in their own religion to question falsies in it, and that has pushed them to be so strict. But this what he pointed out is one of the things I also struggle with, and I'm very much interested. For instance, our first panelist, an anthropologist who has studied religious young groups in Holland, or in Europe, I think. Amir, what's your opinion about this important question?
Yeah. Later we would take Dr. Amir Murgai's opinion on that. But first I need to ask, I think, Rosina.
Sorry, it's Rosin.
Okay, Rosin, please.
Rosin.
Sorry to
Sorry, yeah.
misspell you.
First, I want to thank Amir Saab and Wahid Saab for inviting me to this wonderful talk. It was very uh, insightful to hear so many different perspectives, especially from such reputed doctors and professionals in also business and anthropology. But my background is in media, so I'm currently doing my master's at UVA, the university here, and my research focuses a lot on social media, on political communities, and religious radicalization on social media and how that works out. So one thing that is just from the conversation that Dr. Shariar and Mudassar Saab pointed out was that how is this conservatism still being there, irrespective of people enjoying the benefits of Western liberalism? I think this is kind of come up a lot in diaspora studies, and what we see in especially young studies of younger generations, that the environments that they're kind of coming out to in these Western countries, and even in the homes that they're living here with their families who have struggled a lot back in their home countries to move here, they are kind of just taking the benefits of the economic liberalism that their country back home, maybe Pakistan or India, doesn't provide. And they're taking that economic liberalism, but the social conservatism, the religious values that they still learned back at home, or their parents learned back home, or their grandparents even learned 100 years ago, those are still present there. So it is like to break that social barrier, that I think to bring about that, we would need a lot more of education and more personal uh, I think personal research as well. Like people uh, need I wouldn't say that people have the opportunity to just sit and like read a lot the entire day and not do their work, but even in conversations with their peers or at university or at school, they should like people should seek out other people who think that they have a different perspective, or they have some kind of a way to make changes, not even in their own lives but also back at home. And even this social conservatism, I think that is a very big response to what we are seeing right now in the West between neoliberalism and social democracy. Like this is a big struggle between Europe and the and US, and their the entire like the corporations and everything pushing neoliberalism. And then from the grassroots there is a social democratic movement, but people are still have that conservative like ideology at the background, which is very prevalent when we see on fake news with social media and everything. So this is what I feel that it was necessary to point out.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you. So it means that we can say that this is a negative impact we have in Pakistani society. Yeah, Dr. Amir, and then later Dr. Ishtiaq. Yeah.
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 No,
Do you want to
thank you.
say something on it?
No,
Or
the question, I think the previous speaker, Rosine, if I spell it correctly, he makes quite a good point on this, that the kind of social exclusion or social isolation within the Western societies the Pakistani diaspora has. Mostly in, I would not say in America or Canada, but mostly in the European context. And yeah, in that context, you see that kind of emerging of kind of conservatism and and a certain kind of religiosity. I mean, religiosity, I would say that in Pakistani context, the religiosity is quite plural, while in European context, when they isolate themselves and they close themselves to different voices within the religion, which does exist in their own home country. As a result of that, the kind of thinking patterns and the specific kind of conservatism that emerges here, which closes, how they should, how they should develop their thinking um, uh, regarding religion, freedom of religion, or their social engagements, and how they can, you know, broadly define them within the new context, and that has to also to do that there are not many platforms where you can find, they have only mosque bodies, and outside mosque there are not many spaces where they can engage with different kinds of people or with different kind of thinking, which can give them a different other views within religion or within the social context.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Amir. Dr. Ishaq, please unmute yourself, and then I would ask Ms. Taiba as well later. Dr. Ishaq, unmute yourself, sir. Yes, can you? Yes.
Am I unmuted now?
Yes. 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 Please.
Let me begin by thanking the four panelists for very insightful inputs in their experiences of diaspora in relation to Pakistan. I thought I would put this slightly in a different context. Firstly, what is a diaspora? It's not simply the sum total of people who are living abroad. The term diaspora is associated with the Jewish expulsion from Palestine 2000 years ago and their prayer, "O Lord, the next year in Jerusalem." So it means that it's a people who have been forced to flee from their homeland, but they hope to return to it. So, but in a broader sense, of course, anybody who comes from Pakistan will have some level of association with Pakistan. Despite the four very insightful presentations, I think one problem is that these all four are from the Punjab province, unless I'm wrong in that, because there is a diaspora and has always been diaspora. Like, for example, in the UK, you have the Kashmiri Mirpuris wanting to create their own Kashmiri state, the Khalistani diaspora wanting to regain their homeland. And in Pakistan, we have the Baloch diaspora wanting to break out of Pakistan. But when the four speakers today come from the same province, we realize that actually they don't have, there is no basis for believing that they have an impact on Pakistan. What they can, at most what they have told us, and very rightly so, is that Pakistan is bailed out over and over again by the remittances being sent by the Pakistanis abroad. So now the reason is, why is this four speakers diaspora not doing things trying to change Pakistan in any sense? And I think it has been rightly pointed out by all four speakers that it's a dead end when it comes to Pakistan. Nobody listens to what enlightened people, concerned people want to do for Pakistan to improve things for the better. regarding the Islamic thing, where Dr. Morgahi has enlightened us, I think it's more like that the diaspora is captive to what goes on in Pakistan and not the other way around. I think we learned from all of them, Shahryar Mir, Dr. Mudassar, Naeem Saab, and of course Dr. Mogai, that it's Pakistani society which has captured the mind of people who live abroad. And that is why, while living in the freedoms of Western societies, they shut off themselves from the societies they live in, and they associate only with their own countries, and there they uphold values which are a negation of their own freedoms. So I think this is the tragedy of the Punjabi diaspora in particular, that it is a captive of what goes on in Pakistan rather than the diaspora impacting, as the title was. And we found that Dr. Mudassar tried very hard to improve the health situation, and all others have been trying to do it, but there is hardly anything that they can bring about which is productively, positively good. And I think we need to look at the problem of the Punjabi Urdu speaking diaspora, which is not the same of, let's say, the Baloch or the Pakhtun and so on. That's the point I'm trying to put. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Tayyiba, can you please unmute yourself and
Yes.
share your views? Yeah.
Actually, my comment was related to that because I was thinking that nobody has actually talked about the disconnect between the overseas academics and the activists actually with the ground realities of the people of Pakistan. We see there's a gap between them, and when we, especially the academic people also, we are much more influenced by the Western society, and we don't realize that in one place it's actually a fundamental, it's about fundamental rights, and it's considered as right, where in one state these are considered luxuries. And there's a, like he pointed out, that there are like marginalized communities. We already have discussed Punjabis over here, and then there's also a big difference of class structure. And how do you overseas people see that, and what you can do to actually fill that gap? Because we see the disconnect actually increasing day by day. And all of the people who have mentioned in your panel have kind of like not lived in Pakistan or not visited Pakistan recent. So there's a lot of like gap in that way also. So just wanted to know what their point of view is about this, and how do they see to fill that disconnect actually.
Thank you. Thank you, Tayyiba. Any of, yeah, Shahryar, please.
So as commenting on the previous both speakers, so etymologically speaking, the word diaspora comes from the Greek and means scattering. And it's used, of course, for a lot of war-related migrations, but in essence, any form of migration, especially, for instance, economic migrations, I would consider equally valuable and equally important. So I wouldn't make the difference between only people who have fled a country due to a genocide or other region or can be conceived as being diaspora backgrounds. I think anyone is who feels they are geographically attached also to other country, and which can gap a generation. Maybe in my instance, I'm born and bred here, but I do relate to my cultural background, which is bicultural, Dutch and Pakistani. So that as a comment, and I agree on most points, of course, made. And the previous speaker, I come to Pakistan very often, and especially in the past years, that has increased a lot. I have connection there, and I myself am considered a minority, yeah, being Punjabi, but I'm Shia background. Well, that is one of the groups that are getting marginalized and suffer quite a lot. And I think a lot of people can be put into a smaller group against which bigger groups can in Pakistan have a specific opinion, being Baloch or from other regions, but especially Balochi people, I would say that's very scary what's happening there. And I don't know how people from who have diasporically from Balochistan left, how they will be able to change. I'm very interested to hear more about that, because that is one major group who are facing a lot of genocidal harm. And I can speak as a Shia person. I need to be aware what I say. And politically speaking, right now, people who stand with specific groups are getting marginalized. So I would want to know how they stand. Yep.
May I respond to that?
Yeah, yes, Dr. Sia, but we will have to come back to the
Yeah.
impact of diaspora.
Just a
Yeah.
clarification. No, why I assumed that they all four are from Punjab and so on was because I would then have expected Shahryar Mir to talk more about the Shia position in Pakistan and what the diaspora is doing about it. Since he didn't say a word of it, I had to assume that they have no such problem except the general one about this law, blasphemy law.
Yes,
So,
agreed.
my assumption was based on if he was talking about the Shia diaspora, this was a good occasion to talk about a particular group which is being targeted, but that he didn't do that. So, therefore, my assumption.
No, no, I'm not blaming you anything. Please understand.
No, I'm
And
just
I
trying
did
to
not,
explain.
yes,
I'm
and I did
explaining.
not discuss the Shia point because I will be very honest. My focus is on health issues in Pakistan, which I want
Yes,
to do.
yes, yes.
That is really my
I
my
understand
goal
that.
in
I
life,
understand.
I would say.
I
Okay,
understand.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Mudassir, do you want to elaborate more on the points that you have raised in your initial opening?
Yes, actually, I want to talk about those points which Tayyiba has raised and notified. I hope that some of you, or maybe all of you guys, have checked the story from the Fact Focus about the blasphemy in Pakistan. He has done a story that Ahmad Nourani, his name is Ahmad Nourani. He has done a story for the Fact Focus about the blasphemy. I have read over there that more than 400 young person from 18, some are less than 18 to 25, that 400 people are in the prison, the young boys and the girls. More and those are not illiterate or not like that, but the problem is those are from the lower middle class or from the lower class. So those are not the rich people or not from the upper class. So most of those people who alleged for the blasphemy, they are from the lower middle class or the lower class. And there is another problem that some of our institution officers, they are also making a honey trap for the people to do the blasphemy or do something to arrest those people, to show that we are working or we are doing something. So I think Taiba's question was this, and we have seen a lot of things that if you go to that Salman Taseer's murder, although it was a political murder, but it was because of religion. So
Sorry,
because
Mudassir, can I ask you please come to the point, huh? Because the impact of diaspora on Pakistani society, it is very important to discuss, except Yeah. If we go into only discussing blasphemy or the incidents, actually it doesn't impact on our dialogue at all.
Okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay. Yeah,
please.
yeah. I will go to that freedom of expression that we have as a diaspora. Here we are living, the Pakistani living in the overseas, we have a freedom of expression. So this is a basic human rights for us, basic human right to express whatever we feel or whatever we follow, the ideology or the religion. But when we go back to the Pakistan, over there it's a luxury or the privilege to have a freedom of expression or follow whatever you are if you are not from the Sunni sect or not from the Punjab, as Ishtiaq Ahmed Saab addressed already. So but otherwise, if you are from Balochistan or you are from KP or maybe you are from Sindh, so you will have those issues. But the Pakistani diaspora, which are living here in the West, I have seen that many person, if anyone want to express their feelings in Pakistan, or maybe he can say that he is not a man. If he's a man, he's a born man, but he can say that my gender is not the man, so you can call me trans or something else. But when they will say that this guy has an issue, so he doesn't have a right to express his feeling. What I have seen in the Mehrub Awan case, what we have seen in the Shehzadi Rai case, and many more cases, we have seen that the Pakistani diaspora, which are living here, I have met so many people here which are enjoying their liberty here, but when the things goes to Pakistan, they are always against those rights. And the people here, which are activists or maybe doing something with that diaspora, they must have to notify them, please do not do this. If you want a better Pakistan, please do not do this. Or you have to give them rights which you are enjoying here. Or at least you can raise the voice for those who are not able to express their feelings in Pakistan. So this is it from my side for
Yeah,
now.
thank you. Rosin and then Masood Mirza.
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to raise the point that so first of all, in the case of a diaspora, obviously there's a level of economic prosperity, like a threshold of economic prosperity that anyone needs to have so that they can emigrate to a more prosperous, liberal, democratic Western country. And with that, there obviously comes a class divide between maybe what you would call previously the bourgeoisie and now the working class. So most of what we are currently seeing in case of global corporations and everything, countries back home like India, China, Pakistan, Bangladesh, they are becoming the labor forces, the factories, the markets where all the production and manufacturing is being done. And all the diasporic people who are in these Western countries, even if they are from the East, they are occupying those managerial positions and those elite positions in top governments or Congress or in companies. So they are still carrying forward the old conservative ideals that the elites back in our country have, and that we always accuse them of having, that the working class have always accused the elites of having. So the previous fight between, let's say, activist politics and elite conservatism that would happen in one country, that has now become more fractured and more differentiated because of the people that are moving to different countries because of migration, and especially economic migration.
Rosin, there was echo on in your voice. Huh? So
I'm sorry.
yeah, check your mic later. So I go to Masood Mirza before Masood Mirza would express his opinion. I want to ask all of you to you can even talk in Urdu or Punjabi or Sindhi or Balochi, whatever you want to talk. Even some people are more good in speaking German language. They can always do that. We have translators here.
Ji, thank you very much for the panelists, for the thought-provoking ideas, and for the lively discussion.
Sir,
Also,
echo
for
is
the
coming.
valuable
Echo is
work
coming.
done.
So we have echo.
Yeah, I don't know. Where is that? Where is the echo?
But it's in everyone's voice, Rana Sahab. When you
Yeah.
were talking, we were
No,
also.
I think it is only in Masood Saab's voice because it is only happening when his
Oh,
yeah is
okay.
lighting up.
Yeah.
No, it's everywhere.
Masood bhai, can you please check both your mobile phone and
My
computer?
mobile is out. Mobile phone is but computer expert Moin is sitting here.
Yeah, because
But
both
not
of you,
here.
actually, both of you have opened your
Yeah.
My
Zoom at the same time in the same room.
Two Zooms in the same location.
Yeah,
So
your
one of you
Abhi
has
voice is
to
not.
can I
mute.
talk?
One
Moin
of
has
you
gone out.
have to mute, then it will not be
Where
an
is
issue.
Yeah. Yeah.
आवाज आ रही है?
Yes, now it's good.
Sorry, I don't know what happened.
No, continue.
Yeah,
Acha.
please continue, sir.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, thank you for the thought-provoking ideas by the panelists and also for their valuable work in different fields. For example, Shahryar Sahib, because this is an inspiration for many people. Whether in the long range it helps or it helps less, that is a matter of discussion. But they are showing their goodwill and working hard. We are thankful to them. The problem is that Pakistan was established 47. It is almost 70 years, 77 years have passed, and we are still afraid whether there is blasphemy law. And I mean, this, you are Shia, you are Pashtun, and this discussion about the religion that diverts the attention of the people from their basic problem, because the basic problems are, one of the panelists has also mentioned that the majority of the people is helpless or powerless. Why the people are powerless? Because there is a class which is too much powerful. They have occupied all the resources of the state, and they have also occupied the whole machinery and also the press, and there is also no separation of power, as it has been mentioned. So the problem, my question is whether this is a problem of class society, where one class has usurped all the resources of the state and exploiting the people. And if the people want to talk about the economic problems, they are diverted through these blasphemy laws or religious questions. And Ishtiaq Saab, my question is whether after so many years, we are talking still about religion, because Pakistan was established in the name of religion. The question is whether the first brick was laid in such a manner that the wall which is going upstairs, that is not straight, and that is going in the wrong direction. So my question is, please help us to understand the situation, whether looking in the historical perspective, why are we talking still about the religion? They are modern ideas, whether it is socialism, whether it is social democracy. Why we don't try to address the problems of our country in the light of these new economic system? Of course, if there is a religion, whether you are a Shia or a Sunni or a Sikh or Muslim or Hindu, it is your personal problem. So my question is whether it would help us to talk about the class problems and also about secularism, because religion is my personal problem. If I go to temple, if I go to church. So sorry for the long detail, and I would request, because as historian, perhaps you could answer the question, please.
Yeah. Can I, with all due respect, say I think we will be going really off the topic if we started now talking about history and historical perspective of why religion is playing a role in Pakistan. because I think if we can somehow relate this question to the topic, then it will be very nice.
But these are the root causes. They need another dialogue, I think.
Yeah.
People are still threatened by the blasphemy law, because one of the panelists was talking about the blasphemy law, and it is because of this religious fanaticism in Pakistan. Sorry.
You are absolutely right. I mean, every single point you have made, Mirza Sahib, is absolutely accurate, and I agree. My point only is, does it fall under today's topic? That was my question. I'm not saying it's not correct what you are saying. It's absolutely correct.
So what we can do, like Dr. Shahryar and Dr. Murgai as well, please explain more about the impact actually you or the people around you are creating on the Pakistani society, whether it is in the medical field or otherwise. So
Perfect.
we would know more about that.
So the
Yes.
topic should be how is the diaspora impacting? That's what we want to know.
Yes,
And
yes.
not so many other interesting things. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And impact is a cause and an effect. Has it produced any effect? That's what we want to know. If not, Naim Saab gave us an explanation, the system theory, where nothing happens in Pakistan, then we have other perspectives. But an impact is actually A, doing something to produce a third effect. So that's what
So
we want to know. Yeah.
I would, we have achieved, of course, impact and on small scale. So to mention one important impact, health system improvements is one of our topics. So on small scale, we look at patients who don't go to doctors, who are poor, have genetic disorders. My specialization is in syndromes and genetic disorders in children. That's on individual level. So if you take that broader and you want to impact a larger group of patients, one of the things we have achieved together with a group of Pakistani doctors living and working in Australia, combined with us living in Holland, was we have set up what we call a medium care facility, financed, supported, backed up within the surgery ward in Rawalpindi Medical College. So Rawalpindi Medical College is a huge public university hospital, and patients who are operated young children tend to go directly to the normal staff ward where parents, the mothers, look after their just operated children, which is weird because operated children need high intense care, especially the first 2 days. So a lot of children die because of preventable causes like an infection of a wound because the mother doesn't know. So we, as an approach, ABC impact, together with another diasporic, in my opinion, group, have established a medium care unit with nurses, monitors for 2 days. All the children being operated come there and then they leave. So the first impact of that is that the rate of infection has dropped. And now we are now analyzing if the mortality, so the amount of children dying, is changed compared to historic data, so the data before. That's ongoing, but I can assure you, yes, that is. So this is in small scale an impact we have achieved. And one other, coming to the law and religion, I have noticed one important thing, and maybe this will cause more off-topic issues, but the impact of 9/11 has been enormous for the generation of youngsters living around me. So one of my colleagues, and I will mention, she is a pediatrician, half Pakistani, half Dutch, mother Dutch, father Pakistani, and she is one among 3 sisters. She's the eldest one, my age approximately. I am 43, so she's just 1 year younger than me, I think. And her younger sisters are a bit younger. And what she told me is she is more, I would consider, let's say, modern or, yes, modern. So non-scarf wearing, outgoing, has no issues with things like that. Her younger sisters are totally her opposite. They're scarf wearing, extremely religious, and they are raised within the same family by the same 2 parents. And what she told me, because I was surprised to see the two younger sisters and their husbands, beard wearing. I have a beard because I'm lazy, but they were the religious beard types. And what I was shocked to see that the family dynamic. And what she said is for her, the impact of 9/11 was important because she was at the time of 9/11 18 or older, and we were transitioning already in our maturity of adolescence. So we had different views. Her younger sisters were impacted a lot in their teenage or younger ages due to the 9/11 attacks, and especially how the West started to look negatively towards Islam. And as a counter reaction, they became more culturally and religiously aware. So this is what I discussed with her. I think it's an interesting impact, maybe also having now on how they reconnect with more Pakistan than I at that young age did. So just to bring it up to stir up some discussion.
Yeah, Dr. Ishaq.
Well, actually, the question is when they connect with Pakistan, with whom do they connect? They connect with the right wing parties there. So that's the problem. So it's not an impact uh, that the diaspora is inflicting on Pakistan, but Pakistan is already a citadel of extremism, fundamentalism, and so they get sucked into that. I think that's how it is. Impact of diaspora would be like the way you are explaining how opening a clinic has helped so many uh, families and so on. That might be a minuscule help, but still it is. So that sort of thing is happening. Maybe some other good things are happening as we know. But the overall impact of a diaspora on the politics of Pakistan is nil, because if people connect, they connect with political tendencies which are already there. There is nothing coming from outside changing Pakistan. That's what I'm saying. So it's not an impact in that sense, profound change that is taking place, except the money that we all know we keep on sending, and the society, the state keeps on reproducing itself. This class question and all are important, but we want to know how the diaspora impacts Pakistan society. Let's have more arguments from the four
Yeah,
panelists.
Dr.
Yeah.
Amir Murgai,
So,
especially, I also want to ask this question as well, because yes, a lot of people living outside of Pakistan, they support and promote financially as well the religious seminaries, madrasas, or otherwise, even building mosques, doing certain things. So this is an impact, and actually we are living outside in another culture, and we are promoting that type of mentality over there.
Yeah.
Can you please explain
Yeah, of
a
course. I
little
mean,
more about that?
sure. Yeah, definitely, definitely. I mean, I think first I will say that I think we should not go into the discussion of diaspora, or I would rather perhaps considering the discussion on this bird, I would rather say overseas Pakistanis. I mean, how
Yeah,
they are
yeah,
impacting. I mean, and
that's right.
then we will have more broader issues. And in that sense, I would say that uh, the kind of conservatism which we see in Pakistani society, or among the people overseas Pakistanis, and the kind of I mean I see that there is other impact. For example, I give you an example of the the three big religious group. I mean, then Ishaq Sahab say that they are all Punjabi based, but good, they are Punjabi based. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
Hajjul Quran, and then you have this lady, what's her name, Rifat Hashmi, who's based in Canada, and then you have also Ghamdi, and he's also now sometimes in Malaysia and sometimes in America, but they have a huge network in Pakistan. And they are providing not only the Quranic classes, but Quranic classes and the Tajweed al Quran, and those things within the house sphere. and creating a kind of, I would not say feminism or whatever, but they are impacting on the women. I mean, in the household.
But that's it. But Dr. Murgani, that's what I'm saying. From this Rifat, what is her Hashmi, whatever her
Hashmi,
name
yeah.
is, and these three groups are based in Lahore, and they are impacting here. I keep getting calls from people. Do you want to learn Quran? You know, it's the other way around. That's what we are
No,
saying.
no, no. Now they are based in Canada. I mean, the Rifat Hashmi
Doesn't
is,
matter, but that's an offshoot. Basically, it's all Lahore centered or Pakistan centered.
yeah. No,
Yeah.
no. But the thing is, but the thing is that from here they're exporting money. They are exporting
Yes.
religious knowledge.
Yeah.
There's, I mean, and that is impacting society. I mean, it is not that okay. Of course, they are. I mean, they're coming from Pakistan. They are from those areas, but how that through the modern media, how modern social media and the new forms organizations which they get here in these societies, and how they are through those networks their own networks, they are creating a certain kind of conservatism. And but I earlier mentioned about the anti-politics, because it is not a politics which is going towards a liberal democracy. No, it is more towards the kind of conservative society and the values. And the second thing which I would say, I was just a couple of days I was listening to this Israeli philosopher Yuval Hariri, his new book, and he said that the democracy works on dialogue. Yeah? Democracy is a continuous process of dialogue in which communication is quite central. But with the modern, these modern social media developments, that nature of the dialogue is changed. And he said that, for example, that that previously the democracy can work in a small society, but you will not see that democracy was working in a bigger society like America. It is a modern idea, the modern communicative method which enabled, the societies like America, which is a big society, or other countries where democracy can work. But the social media, everybody has something in his hands to impact, to communicate, to engage with other. And the whole, earlier somebody mentioned about the fake news, due to which the older, what is called the traditional democratic methods, they are not working. I mean, they are not working in the same way. I mean, in America, and in the same way in Europe, the emergence of right wing here, or the emergence of Trump, winning of Trump, and the same things are happening in societies like Pakistan. That you can't, there's a huge young people who are engaged through with each other, or through the different social platforms within the different political parties. But the state is trying to bring curbs on those young people, which is not working. That's why, as Naeem Arif also mentioned, those kind of internet curbs are being brought to, to contain those kind of debates, those kind of impact. So, I mean, what I want to say is that the modern social media has created a lot of spaces, due to which impact of outside is a lot. I mean, and that's why the kind of curbs are introduced due to the government in Pakistan. So I mean, that's what at least at this moment I would
Yeah,
like to say.
I want to invite Mr. Khurram from Taiwan, because he has a lot of interaction on social media, and he thinks that social media nowadays, since last 2, 3, 4 years, has impacted a lot. So
Can you take
Khurram,
Tayyib's
can you
question?
please unmute yourself and please share your point of view? Yes, Khurram.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, Assalamu alaikum, all of you, and thank you very much. It's been
Again, you are mute.
okay.
Yeah, now it's okay.
Okay. This is my first time that I'm in this kind of discussion, and I really appreciate your views, and it's very good to know that what Pakistanis, overseas Pakistanis are thinking, and how they are helping people in Pakistan. Since I am here in Taiwan, I've been living here for 25 years, and I'm mostly I was teaching to young children, and I now from last 2 years, mostly I'm like having a retired life, and I am very busy especially on social media, and I'm watching and I'm reading people's thought and and I think that the social media has brought a lot of impact on Pakistani society, and it has drastically changed. And people are now people they used to like they hold their had their views and thoughts. Now they can openly brought into public, and they can say whatever they want. I mean, the government is still in very much control. Especially the media is totally, I mean, is in the government's hand, but social media has brought the things into light, which was we never thought that it will, it will ever happen. And personally, I think that how now come to like what I am doing here. I think that if we overseas Pakistani, if we can bring change in Pakistan by educating people, that would be a great effort and help to Pakistan society, especially for our families and our neighbors and our cities and now the country. Because if we do not educate people, people will never stand up. Education is the core of democracy. If you want to flourish the democracy in Pakistan, you have to invest in education. If you do not invest in education, you cannot have result. You can do the basic things: health and education. You have to invest in this one. And I think if the overseas Pakistani uh, invest in education, rather investing in buying plots and the other things that which has no value, except the money devalues and you get more money. Invest in education or help the organization. They are promoting education and health in Pakistan.
Yeah, thank
Then
you
you
so much.
can
Yeah,
bring change.
thank you. But again, this is debatable. I would come later on that. Dr. Istiaq and then Tayyab, please.
Me, I just wanted to point out that OPP is a great opinion builder. So one should be proud of the fact that this way we try to influence Pakistan. I don't want to talk about myself, how my videos and my books make a change. We are in the diaspora.
You have more impact than OPP.
Yes. But today is the day of our four panelists, these young people, idealistic, caring about their societies. So we wanted to hear from them concretely how this impact is taking place. And I'm sure there are many other people elsewhere doing social media, talking about democracy, about education. So from the diaspora, such inputs are coming in individually. And in my case, I think I've also changed opinion fundamentally across the board. I know that. So this is how one should look at the impact. How you influence opinion. And I think OPP is a great influencer when it comes to, from the diaspora, Pakistanis trying to bring a change in Pakistan. We may not succeed, but that is how we can do our things. Another diaspora that we have to keep in mind, which has been very effective in Pakistan, is the MQM with this fellow, kya naam hai yaar uska, creating a mess in Pakistan all the time. Now, of course, he has been curbed. So this is how diaspora can do a negative or a positive role. That's an impact. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Mr. Tayyab, please.
Tayyab.
Unmute.
Sir, unmute yourself.
Yeah. Is it okay now?
Yes. Be prepared after raising your hand, please.
Okay. Okay. Now, my question was similar to Dr. Ishtiaq's comment and the other gentleman's comment. We don't see, apart from this few examples of Dr. Shariar, that there's in health, they are doing so much individually. But other than that, we don't see much impact, or as Dr. Ishtiaq mentioned, nil impact. So now my question is how we can make the positive impact by Pakistani or positive impact from the diaspora to improve the current political situation, like freedom of speech, bribery, and especially army governance. Okay, how we can improve that the army sometime give the power to the democracy totally, instead of, the problem is Pakistan's biggest problem, in my humble opinion, is the army. Sorry.
Yeah, thank you. I want our panelists to comment on it, please. And then I want Mr. Arif from Lahore, Sweden. It says, so if you are living in Sweden, then we want your opinion as well. Amir Murgai, please.
Now, I mean, the last question is a huge debate. I mean, it's not a small thing. I mean, the military has a history in Pakistan, and Dr. Shah Saab, I mean, of course, is a kind expert on this. Expert on this.
Military has a story in Pakistan is an understatement. You know it.
Yeah, of course. That's why I mean we can't say that I mean this thing can be solved, or this issue can be solved in a certain near future. But I related with this, I would also deal with a comment here of Marian Lucas, and I think that is more appropriate platform. And she asked that is trying to achieve impact upon through international forums like EU, UN, and and she gives an example of a Kashmiri lobbyist. I think it is those platforms, those international platforms, which I think the groups like OPP, or she mentioned like Kashmiri lobbyists, that they should use those forums to influence upon the Pakistani society or Pakistani state organizations to to curb the role of military in one or other way. But I mean, otherwise, I mean, I think these are bigger platform needed, like the OPP, like the Kashmir forums, which can influence the European Union or an organization like that, which can have some we can say something about the broader social change in Pakistan. I mean, if you can, if through those forums, if you can impact like the IMF, that they should not give money to military or military affiliated institutes. I mean,
Amitabh, what is influence and what is interference in this
yeah,
context?
yeah, that's the question. Yeah, yeah,
That's the big question.
yeah.
Because we don't want to interfere any external power in our internal matters. So what is the
But we are happy to get
intervene?
money from, but we are happy to get money from IMF. I mean,
Yeah, you're right. You're
Sir,
right.
we are prone to actually, we demand, not we mean Pakistanis or Pakistani state and Pakistani society as well. They want, interference actually. They invite it. The history proves. So, Mr. Arif, can you please unmute yourself and give your opinion?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, please.
Yeah. No, this is my first time to join any of this session. I've been outside Pakistan since 14, 15 years and in Sweden for last 2.5 years. So I was listening to the esteemed speakers and really learned a lot from Dr. Ishtiaq Ahmed's thoughts. Always hear him and learn from his literary work as well. And I agree that, my only reflection is that we all who are outside here, we are not welcomed in Pakistan, and there is no influence we have play. I have been part of many groups of us which are, educational from educational time and otherwise. And when you suggest something over there, based on your experience, what you have seen outside, and that can benefit, you're considered outsider and not thought as someone who really knows Pakistan, and then you cannot make any change. So we are not, we're not considered that who someone who can really make any improvement, because we do not have any institutional or any organizational strength to influence or provide opinion that can make any difference in Pakistan so far. So I don't know how we can be of any benefit having so much experience living abroad and support in eliminating the challenges that Pakistan, our mother country, is actually facing over there. So it still remains a question to me. Um, we love our country. We want to want it to be prosper, but we don't know how. At least I think I don't know how.
Yeah. So, one question from me to all of you is we have seen nowadays through social media, through videos of protests outside in UK or in other countries as well, to give support to a certain uh, political party or certain political thought or against establishment or whatever. So this, I don't think this is inflict an impact on Pakistan society, but it supports somehow or influence Pakistani society as well. Don't you think it is an influence of a Pakistani living outside of Pakistan as an overseas? Mudassar, can you please?
Yes, there is, but before that, I was trying to say something about that. The last question it was that how much influence do they have in driving a change in Pakistan? So, for me, they do not have much more influence to drive a change in Pakistan. And for what Ishtiaq Ahmed Sahab was saying about that, the positive impact. For me, I want to say some names. Their impact should be positive in Pakistan, but what the Pakistan has done with them was not good. The first one is Malala Yousafzai. She is also living outside Pakistan. She's an overseas Pakistani. She has an impact on Pakistan. And the second one is Gulali Ismail. She is also having an impact on Pakistan. You have seen that the PTM, Pashtun Tahfuz movement, she was one of the founding member of the PTM. The third one is the Sharmeen Ubaid Chinoy, who has made a movie. That movie's name was a documentary, actually. It was Saving Face. And that was on the honor killing. And she won the Oscar on the movie. And about the military, we have Aisha Siddiqa, Dr. Aisha Siddiqa from UK. So I think most of the the person has read the book from Hockey Company, which was the most famous from her. So we have some of those persons who impact the society, who has the positive impact on the society. But it is positive for us, but maybe for the rest of the people which are in Pakistan, or maybe the right wingers, that will be a negative impact for them.
Yeah, I would say Dr. Ishaq Saab work on, especially in Pakistan
Yes.
history and military and otherwise, it also impacted. Huh?
Yeah, definitely.
What do you think, Dr. Ishaq? Again,
Ishtiaq Saab, I have a question for you. That for us, it is a positive impact on Pakistan society, but for the rest of people which are against you, that will be a negative impact. So how can we say that is a positive or a negative? So please, sir.
Dr. Saab, unmute yourself, sir. Dr. Ishaq, unmute. नहीं सर, अभी म्यूट नहीं हुए आप। सर अभी तक म्यूट है सर आप।
Mute my board.
Yes, now.
Haji. So, impact has to be studied through some indicators. Okay, there has to be some indication that A has influenced B. The result is different from what B was earlier. Okay. So, insofar as my books are concerned, I didn't want to talk about it. But since you mentioned Aisha Siddiqa, and that's a very good book, absolutely. Only she could do it because she was working in the military accounts and she had the courage to do that. So, that's one book. I would say the Pakistan Garrison State book is conceptually, theoretically covering more than just what the military owns and its investments. So, if you have not heard of it, it's time to notice that book. But the biggest impact my book has had is on my book on Jinnah. Jinnah was previously held to be almost second to the Prophet in terms of being inerrant, that he couldn't do anything wrong. After my book has been published, everybody is now opening his mouth and saying things which are originally my research, many years of research. So the impact is taking place. Now, of course, you have a very good question. It might influence some sections of people, but those who have the power, those who do not agree with me, they are offended by what I do. But that doesn't matter. The thing is, only historically and over time it will show whose impact was positive and whose was negative. Right now, what we can claim is that the OPP and maybe my books and many other people who are working from abroad, the diaspora, are having some influential impact in Pakistan. But it is equally true of all the right wingers. That's also true. The extremists influence people in Pakistan. I would say that mostly the diaspora in the West is captive to what goes on in Pakistan. They are, you see, during the 70s and 80s, the Saudis and the Iranians were funding mosques all over the world, teaching Muslims to alienate themselves from the societies they live in, saying that this is not what is good for you. You just live here, but your loyalty is to Islam. And then you have all those problems which we have in the Middle East between Iran and Saudi Arabia, the Shia Sunni sectarianism in Pakistan, and so on. I think Saudi Arabia has withdrawn from that, and I think Iran soon will be compelled to do that as well. So, once we are free from the hold of these two external powers, maybe influence emanating from people like me or OPP or these four gentlemen who have spoken, including you, will have a greater impact. Right now, the state of Pakistan is under the hold of these external states. And one can add maybe the Americans also pull the string and the British do. It's a very, very long story that one can tell.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Saab. It will take us more time to indulge into this discussion and to find out exactly, according to you as well, certain indicators to come to a point to determine that there is influence or impact of overseas overseas Pakistanis
हाँ
on
जी बोलो यार
society. So,
Before-
because it's almost 2 hours of discussion, so I think that it is a good time to close this topic by sharing some closing slides to you.
Okay.
And
Are
then
we on?
later, yes, please.
Okay. So, wow, I think it was a wonderful discussion. Thank you, everyone, for participating and highlighting different aspects of our topic. It was just beautiful. Now, let me just try. This may be a hell of a job to summarize what you guys are discussing, but I will give it a try. I think what we talked about today and what we can take out of it, that we have about 20 million or something living abroad, and over 1.5 million have left Pakistan last year, and last 5 years about over 3 million persons have left Pakistan. So we were discussing about brain drain. I don't know what else this is. I mean, this is a big brain drain, and not only people living already abroad, but people now living in these kinds of big numbers have also a huge impact, because they will be joining diaspora or overseas groups soon, or they are joining continuously, and it obviously has a continuous impact and changing impact. I mean, see, the impact is every generation of diaspora has created a different kind of impact, because the situation changes, and the situation of the people who moved was also very different than the people who are moving now. And we clearly understand that it's not a homogeneous group, so there cannot be one big impact from all Pakistani diaspora which will change the society. It has to be in bits and pieces, because we are divided into bits and pieces, whether socioeconomic, whether class, whether territory, whether language, ages, gender, whatever, reasons for leaving, we mentioned that. And I think it is, and on the economic side, we don't need to talk too much about it. It is a big number. It's the second largest foreign earning after, I think after textile export. What is interesting to see among all of them, even in the third generation, that emotionally they feel connected to their home country, even if a lot of them haven't been to the home country and know very little about the home country. And this is this very deep urge to give something back, and we have to define that giving something back. And giving something back can also be very negative, as we heard in. So the impact of us folks living abroad and leaving to live abroad in social, economic, and political areas it is interrelated. I mean, it really very kind of flows into each other, and it's sometimes very difficult to separate them. It's so the impact this is all having is multifaceted. I mean, the people who migrate, not only they from outside create an impact, but there is a huge impact on their families. I mean, just think of family structures breaking, marriages breaking, a lot of things happening there. And then the people who are left behind, there is slight increase in their household income. It lifts many people out of economic hardships, and they have more or better access to education, to healthcare, and change in their social status. The people who had a bicycle now have a motorbike, or they had a motorbike, they have a tractor, and so on and so forth. And it creates their the social impact in a quite a big way. I think we should not underestimate that from every other village, if there are 2 or 3 people living in Kuwait or Saudi Arabia and sending some money home, living in a very actually hardship kind of situations. But the more educated ones who have come out to Europe and the West, they have created a lot of entrepreneurial opportunities. We heard about that, people investing in real estate, people investing in startups, people opening up new businesses, even having foreign currency accounts and so on and so forth. And they are doing that. And they are creating also a lot of awareness. I think we had quite a bit of mention of social media, and also demonstration, protests, and write-ups. There we have, one way or the other, created quite a bit of impact on awareness, not impact, but awareness for women empowerment and human rights. I mean, just look at, we are a pretty small group, but we have every year 2 or 3 programs on human rights or empowerment of women, or sexual harassment, or women rights, or gender equality, or underage forced marriages. I mean, all this somehow creates, and I think what we are being unfair to ourselves. We are trying to be over ambitious and overstretch ourselves, and we get sometimes into negative spin that, hey, we cannot make a big change. Of course we cannot make a big change, but those all small changes, that's what we can make. And none of us is expert in everything, so we can make a change which will impact the whole society. We will only make changes which are within our competence, within our expertise. I mean, we gave examples of Dr. Mir and others, because everyone is one way or the other contributing. And Dr. Ishtiaq, I actually kept it for the last, that his books have created a huge impact. They have made people aware of the real history, where this country really came from, and where it is going, and what's happening, and just follow some of his videos talking about the future, not only about history. So, in many ways, these people have been creating lots and lots of impact. So don't underestimate yourself. These all small things count. So the impact I talked about, the disruption of traditional family structure when people leave from there, it has lots of emotional and psychological dimensions you all are aware about. It has created a lot more dependence on remittances. I mean, if remittances stop tomorrow, Pakistan will go bankrupt yesterday. I mean, it is that big impact. And then we have declining trust in country's future. I mean, these 3 million leaving in last 5 years is a clear indicator, as Ishtiaq Saab was also pointing out, that this country is not able to promise or give any future to these younger people or new generation. And then you have an impact on others. If so many people are leaving, then it stimulates other people to leave. I mean, you can hear all the newspaper stories about how many million passport applications are pending, and how many visas are under process, and so on and so forth. So this all is this all is happening. I have to use my reading glasses. And And the social media, which has is being used, unfortunately, the right-wing extremists are making probably the best use of social media than anyone else. But we are doing it as well. Liberals and left-wing people are also doing it. But it's not always used to promote democratic values. So this is where we come in. We have to be careful that if there are negative forces using social media so effectively to deconstruct the democratic values, we should be able to give a pushback in the same media to do support, give some support to democratic values. And also, we experience here, people talked about it, I think all four mentioned directly or indirectly, and Ishtiyaq Sahab, that we are experiencing social and political freedom and economic freedom in our host countries, but we are not always supporting the same freedoms in Pakistan. And this is where we again can play a significant role, and it's so logical that here we want this, but we want to our people deny these freedoms to them in Pakistan. It doesn't seem logical and doesn't seem correct. But we are the one, we have to work with the diaspora here to somehow tell them the truth, influence their opinions, change their opinions, and then in return try to send those thoughts to Pakistan. The recent developments, these are all quite general impacts we are having for generations. But now that why suddenly we became more involved and why we are creating more impact and we can create even more impact, it's because of the changing role, the political tendencies in Pakistan and Europe. I mean, the younger generation here, someone mentioned 9/11, and absolutely correct, because the evolution or evolvement in the right-wing extremism has suddenly shaken us up and said, hey, you are not what you think you are, and you are not one of us. So we suddenly kind of got shaken and started looking for our identity. And we started, where do you go? We started plugging into Pakistan and started getting more interested because we suddenly linked our identity. We did to Europe as well, but we started linking it a bit more than usual to Pakistan in search of what's happening to us and where these things are going. And the political tendencies in Pakistan, the way the democracy is being treated there, you guys all mentioned that, the situation there. So all those things forced us to think a bit more about these things. And then suddenly we got this tool, what we call social media. We were never so much plugged into day-to-day developments. I mean, something happens there, it even 10 seconds or fraction of a second, we all have that, we all know that, whether it's right or wrong, fake or unfake. But this access has suddenly given us the full involvement. I mean, some of people from my age group, we will remember that when we came to Europe, when we wanted to make a phone call to Pakistan, we had to book with the phone exchange our call, and it was waiting time was 10 hours, 20, 15 hours. And you booked the a 3-minute call, and the letter took about a week to get there and a reply to another week to come back. So, but this thing in absolutely real time plugging into the daily events has given us an enormous change in our mindset. And we have sitting here the opportunity to raise issues which are hard to address in Pakistan, because again, a lot of you mentioned that in Pakistan, if you said that, this would happen. If you did that, that would happen. But here you at least have the liberty, the security, the surety to say in a decent way, in a nice way, because everyone said, I mean, we want to give something back. We all love that place. We are not out to do anything negative or any harm to that place. All we want is to do something positive. And then look at this recent development, which is huge actually, that is handful of people sitting outside using social media have pushed the government to put a ban on certain things, certain websites or platforms. They have to build new firewalls, and they have to even change the laws. So don't underestimate. I mean, these days, these few people, in comparison to 230 million, they are a few people. These are few people. If they can push a government to change the laws of all the social media and the press restrictions and TV restrictions, etc., etc., it's a very powerful tool, and people are using it quite effectively. And then we have heard from Dr. Mir and others initiating and participating in social welfare projects. Okay, they have very limited, again, I mean, Ishtiaq Saab cannot address whole Pakistan, OPP cannot. We will always connect with those people who are like-minded. But that is also an impact because those like-minded groups and peoples and big or small, they are working on the ground in Pakistan. So if we support them, and their ideology, their thoughts in any way, it's a big impact. It's a big contribution, enabling them to do more than they are doing at this moment. Now, the question is, what can we do? I mean, this is actually at the end, okay, we can talk a lot, we can analyze a lot, but what can we do? And I think despite all these segmentation differences in profile, in religion, where we come from, etc., we all can unite on at least a minimum agenda. Look at the rightists, how they are doing. Work in small expert groups. We will never be able to create a homogeneous group, a huge one, which is going to drive a huge change and huge lobbying and so on and so forth. No, if there is a group of doctors, they can do something in healthcare. We know people who are educationists who went back to Pakistan or are working with groups of people who are educationists in Pakistan and creating within that sphere human rights, child labor, underage marriages. So there are people who have expertise in each of these areas, in a particular area. Look for people who have the same expertise as you have, create a small expert group, and start joining the bigger groups which are working on the ground in Pakistan. So that will be a huge contribution and a huge impact. And we can therefore influence huge democratic change. Someone talked about demonstrations, lobbying with European Union, lobbying with the rights groups, human rights groups, and so on and so forth. And then protection of human rights, minority rights, gender equality, working against extremism, and misuse of religion. These are all different territories where we can all work in small expert kind of groups and give advice, do lobbying, and it happens. I mean, it really, really helps those people, and they are so glad if you contribute whatever you can to help them to pursue their agenda. So working with international organizations, as I said, and advocacy, so bridging cultural gaps, and be engaged in humanitarian efforts. I will end with a quote from Grace Lee. She said, once he had thought diaspora was loss, longing, all the empty spaces in him filled with want. But diaspora was this too, two cultures that could both be his, history that was waiting to be made. So, my friends, we have history waiting to be made. We all are doing whatever we can. If we organize it slightly better, if we coordinate it slightly better, if we define it slightly better, if we have slightly better communication with each other and cooperation, and Yuval Harari was quoted by Dr. Murgai, and this is exactly what he says, that the strength of the human being is that they can coordinate with each other, cooperate with each other, and share the thoughts and forward them. So this is different channels to get in contact with us. Please do. We need all the support we can get.
So formally, we are going to end this session, but we would remain here for another 30 minutes for networking and discussing other things, including what we haven't said yet. So I'm going to close. Thank you very much, all of you that you have joined. And again, in dialogues, we don't want to conclude actually. we want to raise questions in our mind and the minds who are listening or this type of discussion. So probably we would come next time with very concrete opinion on the impacts or influences we have on Pakistani society. So thank you very much.